gets that first edge has a big advantage, and they're converting that into victory in the mini matches. So we can see them now that they are seated. It's getting exciting, and they're off.
Yes.
Knight F3 on every board.
Yeah, these are two very different positions now because Hikaru went for his B3 system after starting with Knight F3. And then we see in the left-hand side of our screen that Minh brought his queen out and stole the pawn on B2. So sometimes that can backfire, but look at Magnus going for a pawn down endgame because he believes the rooks deserve their open files.
Yeah, very interesting play on both boards, and you can see they're quite positional in nature. I really like what Minh did there. You have to be brave when you're playing these guys. If you see a pawn, even if it looks risky, if you can't see a reason why not to take it, take it. And actually now the Black Knight also has a way in. Magnus puts his rook on a great square there, taking over the open file. And it's pretty in the balance at the moment, I feel, this game, with these two great players. And the other board, Robert, also seems quite even at the moment.
Yes, but look at the clock. Hikaru is well ahead on time against Jose, and that could be the problem. But Jose's equalized completely. Look at this. It's a rook and 4 endgame. And here's where Hikaru has to shine, has to just play quickly, and has to say, I don't care that it should be a draw. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Doesn't matter. This is the BCC.
Yeah, and it's where Hikaru is so strong. He can maybe actually have swapped off rooks there. And the white king is a little bit out of play. And look at this. Hikaru just coming through the center. His king on a great square. He's won one pawn. He's going to win another pawn. And this has great chances to convert because the white king is on the wrong side of the black pawn. Still a bit of work to do here. It might be a draw. It is a draw. Okay. Is he going to try to flag him? King and rook versus king and rook?
Why not? Go for it. I mean, Hikaru has more time, so he should do just that. And it's what Anish Giri should have done earlier today.
He should have tried, and he's just got to make the 50 moves with 4 seconds left, Jose. He's now got 3 seconds. Remember, when it gets to 50 moves, it's an automatic draw. I hate getting flagged in this position. He's got 0.5 of a second. He's not going to do it.
No, but look at Magnus.
He gets flagged.
And Magnus is about to get flagged too. Magnus drops a rook. Minh Le takes game 1, and Hikaru could not convert with his time advantage. So upsets already in the first game of these matches.
Yeah, I think it was a draw because there wasn't enough material on the board, but that was absolutely crazy. And did you say Magnus lost?
Magnus lost. Yes. You know what happened? Magnus was better. He was pressing, going for an attack, and Minh was just the faster of the two.
Wow. Magnus is down on points. It's not often that happens, but he's down on points. Incredible. And also his position here, I do not like. I've seen Magnus play this exact same thing with the white pieces, and it's really quite a dodgy position for black because they're the king. But okay, he might be safe now, as the Black Knight has found a great square also in the center of the board.
Wow, and Bishop F8, what a calm move from Magnus there, retreating. I would have taken the knight and gone H4 as black, but he says that knight on H4 has to stay as a defensive piece, and he takes it, and wow, a pawn sack. He's winning the rook on F2 with knight G4?
Okay, well, Magnus did win the exchange there, and he won it very quickly. He brings his rook over. He can swap off that knight at any moment as well. And Magnus well in control in this game. Looks like he's going to level the score there. On the other board, Jose has a very dangerous attack here. His rook and queen dominating, and can Hikaru defend this? And it's half all there, so beautiful tactics here. Oh, Hikaru's seen that a little bit further, maybe?
Yeah, I think the eval bar, does not look like it's catching up to the players because that was clearly not an even battle. So we'll look at that. But we're also looking at Magnus Carlsen taking game 2 up 10 seconds and up a queen for just a knight.
Yeah. And there you go. You can see Minh Le having a little laugh at the end of that one. And we have 1-1 in that match. Hikaru is 1 point up. After that victory there, and playing very quickly in this game as well. I quite like Hikaru's position, but This is also a great move from Ho.
See that chat there, anxiety-inducing speed. That's what's actually saved Min in some positions in this match, is he has been the faster of the two players in some critical down-the-stretch moments. And we see with the white pieces, this is the Min lay system. He just has what seems like a pretty neutral-looking position, but he feels super comfortable putting his pieces on improved squares.
He's one of these players who has that natural talent, Min Lee, where he just knows where the pieces should go. And that's a really hard skill to learn. There's not many players who have that. And he's keeping the score well within reach. I mean, it is only 1 point in it. So one win at any moment, he will level the score. I mean, seeing Magnus getting knocked out would be amazing. Well, he won't get knocked out, but losing would be... Could it happen? Any believers out there?
I definitely... Look at the clock. Min is up 7 seconds against Magnus, and he has the advantage in this game. And I think that, it's the trade-off we keep referring to. Is it more important to have this, +2 advantage on the board, or have 5 seconds ahead in the clock? Min is both. He just won this game. Magnus looks a bit frustrated. This match is tied.
Wow. Tied match between probably the greatest chess player of all time, Magnus Carlsen, and Min Lee. This could go to the wire. Could we be seeing an upset? And, we see another position where the pieces are getting exchanged quite quickly. Magnus, I think, will like this. He has the advantage of the two bishops in an open structure. You can't take that bishop because of back rank checkmate. And two bishops in an open structure should be a nice edge here. But there goes one of the bishops. Black losing a pawn, though.
Yeah, This is just the Magnus style, right? As you were saying, such a position where it looks slightly better for white. He turns it into an extra pawn. Is that extra pawn that meaningful? Right? It's a double pawn, so it's almost like you're not really up one. But he's going to try to convert this advantage in the endgame.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Bobby Fischer, Magnus Carlsen like this. And I think one of the best analogies that someone said when they were talking about Magnus Carlsen's style, they were saying he was like a turbo mix of Bobby Fischer and Karpov, these two great players. They were saying Bobby Fischer because Bobby Fischer had this ability to transform positions, right? He could take one advantage and transform it into another advantage. And then Karpov because of his positional style as well. And you can see here that Magnus is a pawn up in this position. The evaluation bar thinks it's a draw, but is he going to now use that Karpov endgame technique? I mean, the B pawn looks really scary.
You see Magnus shaking his head. He knows that he's not winning this game, but he probably also looked at the clock and he's like, I'm actually ahead on time for once, and now he's in a winning endgame.
He is winning. Wow.
Oh.
It's shocking, but he missed the win there. Was it Rook B5, I think? Potentially? Maybe that would have won? I'm not sure. And it's only a draw. Only a draw.
And this is why the eval bar can almost be discarded in these moments. But look at the final time, by the way, seconds. So he could have burned some more clock trying to find the way through it. It's hard to blame anybody when they make a mistake in bullet. But when you have that lead on time, I think you need to pick your moments to use that clock. And right now, that's a game that Magnus is going to regret.
Yeah, they're neck and neck, 3.5 all. Very, very close match. And the other match, Hikaru taking quite a nice lead there. Jose playing good chess, but the speed of Hikaru is just phenomenal, isn't it? And that's why a lot of people are saying Hikaru is the favourite to take the whole competition again. But first of all, Magnus has got to get through this round. If we want to see Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru, he's got to qualify. And his position looks really ropey here. The black king exposed. Look at those light squares. You don't want to push pawns in front of your king too much because you'll weaken your king. He puts the knight on f8. There's a saying, knight on f8, it can't be checkmate. That black knight next to the king. But still, scary for Magnus this position.
Yeah, that's why he traded the queens and the superfluous knights no more. The knight from f8 is out of there. But risky decisions from Magnus with that pawn push. He clearly... Whoa, knight d6. He clearly calculated to equality. But yeah, this does look pretty level if you just trade off all the pieces.
It looks level. The black c pawn is very dangerous, but white has an extra pawn here. Deciding to keep rooks on the board. Interesting.
Min probably should hide his king. I think that's what the engine is screaming at him about. He's also up on time. So if Min wants to play for win, I might have tried to flag Magnus in that position.
Yeah. 4-all, they're neck and neck. I just didn't expect this to happen. And the next game starts. Magnus playing the Scandinavian opening in most of the games. And this is giving White quite a nice space advantage. I think one of the ways you should try and target Magnus is to attack him. Just go straight for him. And look at this.
Magnus.
Sorry. Yeah, it was me getting that wrong, Robert. It was actually Min Lee who had the black pieces there.
No, I could tell you're about to be shocked that Magnus would blunder that. I'm also shocked that Min blundered it. Min almost leapt out of his chair. He's like, what am I doing? And in such a close match, a single game could be all important. So you do not want to give Magnus that winning streak. We've seen him do it in Tata Steel and classical chess. He'll draw his first bunch of games, then he'll win like 4 in a row. So you don't want him to taste that blood.
100%. He's relentless. He's brutal as well. I think to be one of the best world champions, you just have to be. I mean, there you go. He's winning a piece there of that rook coming into c2. Min Lee laughing about it, but I expect he's not laughing on the inside there. Magnus a piece up. Probably best just to resign this. You've still got 13 minutes. Get to the next game.
I wonder if internally Min is just trying to pump himself up a little bit because, at this stage with Magnus with a 2-point lead, it's in his favor. But it's sometimes hard to resign and then immediately play the next game when you just played a stinker of a game. So for Min, he did just resign. He's going back to a Scandinavian. Where's John Bartholomew? You out there, buddy? Team Scandi is Min's preference. And it's just in line with his style. He likes to play solidly. He's not a huge risk taker in the early stages. But of course, White does control the center, have the bishop pair, and enjoys a small plus in the white side of the Scandi.
Kind of suits Magnus as well, doesn't it? These kind of positions we're seeing. I mean, we're talking about Min Lee and how it helps him, but Magnus likes having a nice, stable advantage without too much risk. And the problem with the Scandinavian, this variation in particular, is that White always has the 2 bishops. And that light square bishop can be a great piece attacking Black's king.
Very true. And I mean, you mentioned good light square bishops. I looked on the right-hand side with Hikaru's match against Jose Martinez. Hikaru up 3 points and also up, it looks like 2 pawns on the queen side. Some would say he's up 1 pawn, and that is true in total. But he's up 2 pawns on the queen side, whereas Black's pawns are doubled on the f-file. So I think Hikaru can successfully get this game, if not on the board, on the clock.
And there you go, the a-pawn starts to run. Black, though, did grab a pawn and comes back, and White's winning idea in the Hikaru game is to get the king to support the white pawn, and he does do that. Now the white pawn can just try to promote to a queen there.
And it's why bishops are such great pieces that bishop on d5 will stop both f and h pawns from its square, and that means Hikaru gets the game, and he increases his lead to 4 points. So it looks like Min has a winning advantage on the left-hand side of our screen and a lead on the clock. So he's about to cut that deficit in half. It's about to go from 2 to 1. And just a quick friendly reminder to everybody watching, it's win by 2 in the Bullet Chess Championship. So if Min can stay within a point of Magnus, that means that we could get extra time as we only have 11 and a half minutes remaining.
Yeah, Magnus game could go all the way, right? It's only 1 point. And
we see the chat. Look at it. Min has got this. Says, I am not Mendes.
Yeah. I like his position here. White has a very nice structure. Black's pawn in the middle of the board is really weak. White has the open file. And look at Magnus's bishop. Magnus's bishop is basically a big pawn. You might as well just call that a pawn. He's had to move it all the way back.
He blundered
and this is in his blunder. Just take the bishop.
Magnus recognized it. I saw Magnus's face. He realized he hung the bishop, and I think this is the problem when you play someone like Magnus. You trust him, right? You think Magnus wouldn't blunder. Let me find a retreating square. That was a free piece.
If he saves this game, Robert, that could be a turning point. You don't get many chances. And also, Magnus, as you say, realized that he blundered a piece, and he's really going to gain in confidence when his opponent doesn't take the piece. So I feel that Min Lee has to win this game now. Just to stop Magnus gaining in power. It's like Magnus is leveling up, right? Like gaining points every time. He's like, okay, next level. My opponent can't win the piece. He increases in size. But
And I mean, they're moving so quickly, it's hard to even assess what's happening. But it does feel like Min has the upper hand. He's in an endgame up a pawn. Wow, the knight is maneuvering. That b4 pawn is loose, but the b3 pawn also is a target.
Still quite hard to win though. There's not much material on the board. In the ending, you need to keep pawns on the board. And there goes. Oh no, I thought another pawn was getting exchanged. You know, the more pawns that get exchanged, the nearer to a draw you get. And you are playing the best endgame player of all time. That also doesn't help. Another pawn getting exchanged. Is there any way? Oh, look at that. That's a great idea that Min Lee played. Amazing technique. I just assumed it was a draw, Robert.
No, I mean, he just brings the knight back, and also he's looking at the clock. He wins the bishop, but he was also up several seconds. So Min doesn't win the bishop the first time. He takes it. He wins the game. And now what do we have here? We have a knotted up match.
Unbelievable. It is 6-all with 9 minutes to go. We could see a major upset here. Just a quick update in the other match. Hikaru is quite easily dominating that match. He's 9.5 to 3.5. So I really think we've got to stay with the Magnus Carlsen match, as every move it's turning. And now Magnus swinging his queen over, lining up against Black's king here.
I agree with you. I'm not laughing at this. I saw at the corner of my eye, Hikaru bursted out into laughter because he was completely losing, and then Jose made a blunder, so it's even worse for him now. It's 10.5, 3.5. And if Hikaru wants the spotlight, and we all want to watch Hikaru's games, he needs to stop winning by so many points, all right? He needs to give his opponent a chance, and I think that will likely happen when he faces off against Daniel Naroditsky. We will obviously focus on that match. But right now, all eyes are on this game here between Min and Magnus. And is Min even worse? He's down a pawn, but that e3 pawn is the best pawn on the board.
I mean, it looks fairly even, doesn't it, Robert? I mean, it is an extra pawn, but we have the opposite kind of bishops. If the rooks get exchanged, you would assume it is a draw. And now we have those rooks coming off. But White's 2 pawns, it's only White who can win this position. That's the other thing. Only White. And you're right. I mean, we obviously want to see Hikaru play as well. But, you know, he's just winning too easily. That's the problem at this moment in time.
He really is. And Magnus is actually winning this endgame, but I think he needs to bring his king to b7. He'll push his... Oh, he can't push his pawn to f5. He loses h7.
Yeah, it's not so easy to win, is it? I mean, he's going to try everything because he wants to get back into the lead, obviously. But he's a bit down on time. Keep an eye on the clock here. That could be the most important factor of this encounter.
That was a nice move, though. f6. If the bishop took h8 equals queen, that's what's going to happen now. Is this stalemate? No, because black still has pawns.
That's why he's the best endgame player of all time. And he goes back into the lead. A sigh of relief there on his... Just how important that game was. He really needed it. And here you can keep an eye on the other match as well. Hikaru just about to win another game. I mean, you know, he's just cruising at the moment. Hikaru.
And yeah, Hikaru, he took that one with black. Oh, no, he was white in that game. Sorry. So he lost that game. Sorry for the confusion, everybody. But he is still just so far ahead in that match. And on the left-hand side, we see Min down 1 point. And that's the striking distance you need to be in. It's win by 2 in this tournament. And, well, that rook to hit b2, that did not feel good for Min.
No, that's a big idea that Magnus played, but he has got his central break in. This break that Min Lee played in the center often gives White very good compensation. And I don't think White is doing that badly, and actually the computer thinks that White's now a lot better. And if Min Lee can win this one, it's equal, the score again, with only about 5 minutes left.
And Magnus stole an h-pawn, and Min stole an e-pawn. And that king on g8, I mean, there's a queen in front of it. And that's a pass d. What is Magnus doing, giving away all of his important pawns?
Yeah, it's a really weird pawn structure that White has. The 2 double pawns, but the pawn in the center, as you pointed out, Robert, is massive. You can just push it. Push it, baby.
And I like that pawn going d7. Not yet with the rook hanging now on e7. Bishop e6. Oh, he's barely escaping as Magnus.
Oof. Is he escaping this one?
For the moment?
He's got a blockade, hasn't he? He's got a blockade on the position. And how do you break through Magnus's bishop there. It's not easy to do. You might have to take the bishop at some point, and he does. And his queen comes in. Great play there from Min Lee. That was really clever. Breaking the blockade, and it's even again. 7 points all. There's nothing between them. I mean, Magnus may be getting a bit frustrated now.
He definitely is. He's used to pulverizing his opposition, especially his opponents who don't have 2,700 in classical chess. But that was great play called by you because you saw that coming and Min executed it to perfection. So we have a tied match right now as Hikaru runs away with his. And we see that Magnus is struggling against Min Lei. And the black side of another Scandinavian type of opening here where the d4 pawn is a bit of a target, but white has the bishop pair and maybe is ready to strike on the king side.
There he goes. He does strike on the king side, as you say there, Robert, and he wants to try to get his rook around. But remember that saying, a knight on f8, it can't be mate. We'll find out if it's true, but the knight next to black's king is a fantastic defender. And Magnus also has this weak pawn, I'd say, in the middle of the board. So positionally, black's better, but tactically, Magnus is attacking here.
Yeah, and he takes an f6. You knew that was coming when he put his rook on f4. And so Min sacrifices back. That's often a way to save your king. If you're up some material, give some back. And it seems like he's holding on because as you keep highlighting, that knight on f8, maybe it's go up to g6. And where is the checkmate that you want?
It's very hard. The king comes back. Maybe you can sacrifice some g6 there. I'm not sure. Every point is so key when the match is so close, and there's only 3 minutes to go. And look at that. It's a big check there. Wow, what is happening here, Robert? He drops a piece.
He dropped a piece, but rook d2, and the king on g2 is in some trouble there. What's the...
Oh, and black could be winning this.
Oh, he had rook takes bishop. I think that was the key, because the e-pawn would have promoted. That's so difficult to spot, no matter how much time you have, but especially in bullet.
And this is such a big game. It looks like Magnus is going to take a 1-point lead with about 2.5 minutes left there. So this is where if Magnus wins, it is really dangerous now, right? It's only, if he wins a black, could be over.
Yeah. I mean, this is not one that Min can afford to drop, and he had his chances in the previous game. And that's what I think, as the underdog, you like to see. It's not like when you lose, there were some blunders, of course, but typically the losses have been really hard fights. And so this position looks like a Min position. Slightly better from the white side. Black's rook's not connected, but Magnus is doing a good job of trying to fend off the pressure on the queen side.
Yeah, white's knight, though, is looking really nice, isn't it? That white knight has a stable square. The black knight can't come in because of that excellent last move from white. So you're right, this is a Min position. He has the advantage. And the queen now diving into the position. He's playing great chess. And what you take this with? With the rook keeping the open file. And now a very dangerous passed pawn here.
And look at that.
Great opportunity. This would level the score again. This would level the score again, Robert. If he can.
I didn't love the decision to trade queens. It felt like white had all this pressure, and now Magnus is ready to strike with e5, shutting down the bishop on g3. So will it work? White does have f4, and he plays it to stop it, but I think he's going down the wrong direction.
I agree. Magnus' position is getting much, much better here. Now that passed pawn, he's sacrificed it, and he's lost his bishop. Oh, my words.
Oh,
so
no.
that means it's a 2-point lead. He's going to get another chance, though, Robert.
And he must win. This is going to be... doesn't win. Reminder, we've been reminding you all match and all day, it's win by 2. So if Min Lei takes this game, we will see extra time. And, hey, this is a Min-like position. Even if Magnus is the one who chose the opening, it's a solid setup where Min can play quickly.
But he has to win. Min Lee has to win. He's got the black pieces. His position seems very nice. The white rook is not developed. The white bishop has to come out. Black has some chances here. Any other result, Magnus is the champion of this match.
And Magnus, he's trading off all the pieces. He's a vacuum cleaner. He just wants to say, let's get them all off the board, and I'll just hold a draw because that is what I need. And I'm looking at the clock. Magnus is ahead there too.
Up on the clock, and he just grabs the pawn there quite bravely. The black knight coming in to try and cause some problems. You can see the concentration on both of their faces. They realise how big this game is. The clock now counting down to 0. Black must win. Any chances here? Because great defensive play so far from Magnus.
Yeah, the really annoying thing is knight on h4 is trapped over there. It can be used as a weapon at some point if the queen lands on h2, but queen g5 trapped the knight in its place. It's on the rim, and you can see Magnus, he knows the match is his.
Oh, wow. That's why he's the champion, right? That's why he's one of the best players of all time, if not the best. But you know what? Min Lee should be having a round of applause as well. He played fantastic.
Let's get claps for Min in the chat. He deserves it. And Magnus Carlsen, I mean, he knew that it would be a tough match. I don't think he knew it would be